RotoGrinders. Welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD, BlenderHD. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Tuesday, April 9th. We'll be taking a look at the 13-game NHL slate tonight on DraftKings. Hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Give me those thummy thumbs. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Join with me because we're talking NHL. And it's a Tuesday. We got to do alliteration. Tuesdays with Tim BUELL, who I get the sense with only about a little over a week left in the regular season, you're kind of done with NHL. It's MLB time. NHL is, the contests are getting smaller. You kind of it's at that point. MLB, you'll feel like that at the end of July, right? At the end of July, it'll be like, when does NFL come? Now it's kind of like NHL. You love it for most of the season, and just like, okay, I'm kind of done.
I love watching NHL, but when the contests get this bad for DFS, it's tough to play DFS. I'm a genuine fan of the NHL, though. I like to watch. Playoff NHL is the best in all of sports, I think. So I'll be watching, but DFS, it's all about baseball now. This is going to be probably my last day playing NHL DFS. Maybe I'll play Saturday or Thursday, but this is getting down to the nitty gritty for NHL DFS contests.
Well, if we take a look at tonight's slate, I'm playing 5 lineups tonight. Mostly mid. I'm playing there's not much there, so it's like I'm playing 2 into the 20 into the 44. I'm playing 3 more into like the 10K to first, whatever, the poke check and whatever. It's not that much volume. For a 13-game slate, like I said, I only play on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Looking over the projections and looking over the matchups and everything, and seeing who's in, who's out, I don't know. For a 13-game slate, I think we would agree on one of 2 things, and I think maybe you agree with the second thing as well. Colorado 1 is easily the top play, and they may, for a 13-game slate, be like the overwhelming chalk.
Yeah, I think they are going to be by far the chalkiest line on the slate. But if you look at our stacks values page, Tampa Bay 1 is hanging right in there. They're only decimal points behind Colorado 1. So I don't know if they're going to be like the overwhelmingly best play necessarily, because Tampa Bay 1 is in a unbelievable spot. They do have a 4.2 total against Columbus. So I'm not necessarily sold that Colorado's got to be your top stack necessarily, but I do think that most likely I would assume Colorado will be the higher owned of the 2, but that 4.2 total really sticks out to me for Tampa.
Well, I think it's just a byproduct of price. It's like with Rantanen out,
right?
Like line 1, all power play guys. It's McKinnon at home, 10.3K. Obviously, he's going to be the chalkiest guy in the whole slate. But Lehkonen and Druin, they're both in the mid 4s. It's just so easy to piece those 2 together. And then on the Tampa Bay side, Tampa Bay, it'll be to play Point and Kucherov together. They're spread out a little bit more. So it's like there's I think people may go to Nicholas Paul for the power play correlation. So you get Paul, Kucherov, Point, Edman, maybe, because 13.8 projection for 6,300 is pretty damn good. To me, it's a little bit more spread out. You can see line 2 scoring for Tampa Bay, right? But for Colorado, it just feels like where's Colorado here? It just feels like Colorado scores 5 goals. Is Yakov Trenin doing the work?
If I roster them, it will be
right. I feel like in GP, I feel like Tim in GPPs, if you're gonna play McKinnon, don't play him as a one-off?
No, yeah, I completely agree with that statement. I would not play McKinnon as a one-off here. He's bringing some, if not all, of his value with him. So I would not play him as a one-off.
But the thing is that on Tampa Bay, I think you could play Kucherov as a one-off.
Yeah, you probably can. I just
So if I told you Colorado and Tampa Bay were the same ownership, who would you rather play?
that's an interesting question. If they were the exact same ownership, I think that I think I'd play. Well, I'd have to
Right.
dig
Remember,
into
this is
the
price. This is also price
right,
considered. I mean,
right. I'd
right,
I'd have
salary
to
adjustment.
dig. I'd have to dig because in a vacuum, I like the spot better for Tampa Bay. I like the matchup better for Tampa Bay. So I have to consider other value on the slate because they are so much more expensive than Colorado. But in a vacuum, I think this is a way better spot for the Lightning. So, you know, but it essentially like Kucherov and Point, that's like over 18K. That's like the same as getting all three of Colorado one. So, it's tough. But in a vacuum, I like the spot better for the Lightning.
When you're talking about value, uh, obviously you could go to our stacks page, right? This is part for our premium members. You get this, you get the lineup HQ with our projections, our ownership, the slate summary, the expert survey. You get all of our statistical projections. And let me tell you, uh, NHL props the past 2 weeks have been. I mean, I know it's just positive variance. I mean, in general, like it's nearly impossible. It's virtually impossible for me not to be profitable this season in NHL props using our projections. I mean, I would have to literally like kind of lose every bet ever, like for the next
Right.
like week and a half, for like lose like literally every single one to wipe out all that profit. So that's unlikely to happen. But you get the statistical projections that you could download yourself. You could use in Excel. We also have the prop model that you'll show you the top 20 in NHL. You could use that. So if you want a premium membership here, a combo premium gets you everything. So you get NBA, which includes the NHL, includes the playoffs too, right? You get MLB, you get MMA. We got a big UFC pay-per-view, UFC 300 coming up. You get all of it. And we're running a deal right now, 6-month premium membership, $250 off, which is almost, it's like getting like 2 months free for, I don't know why they're doing it, right? But they are. So click on that link in the description. Join us in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. So the stack page, what I like about the stack page is that I sort by value and just kind of look and see like where some cheaper stacks, some cheaper lines that at least have a decent like average projection. I'm not counting Montreal Power Play 2. It's like, yeah, it's because they're all like 2,500 and their average projection is 6. I'm probably not winning a GPP that way. I see here, we see San Jose, right? Because they're always cheap. They're facing Calgary, which is a pretty good matchup for them. I mean, Flames are a better match. I mean, Sharks are awful. We see, like Montreal 2. That's not worth it. Also, the Devils, who are fairly decent underdogs here, but they've moved their lines around where like Dawson Mercer is now playing on line 1. I'm not a big Dawson Mercer guy. Toronto, I have no problem playing teams against Toronto, nor do I have a problem playing teams against Tampa Bay. Like these are the types of teams that they score a lot of goals, but they also give up a lot of goals. If you're looking for value on this slate, like if you're not going to play Colorado, you're not going to play Tampa Bay. Are you looking more at these types of teams, like the Devils or the Flyers, even like Flyers line 2? I guess.
I
I
don't
mean, they
know.
really have, you can play any of their top 6.
I don't really know what to do with the Flyers. They've lost like 7 or 8 games in a row. They've completely fallen apart at the end of the season. They look so bad. I know that we're not supposed to base our decisions on recency bias, but they're like out of control, like blowing up at the end of the
What a
year. Like
better get right spot than against the Canadians.
they've had a few of these get right spots. They keep blowing it big time. They've had a really soft schedule down the stretch, and they've lost like 7 in a row. So I'm really pretty scared to click on any flyer right now. But I agree with you. It is technically a good spot, and their prices are very reasonable. So if I don't know if I would get to them in a 3 max, but maybe in a large field GPP, stack that Konechny line. Maybe that line 1 even, or some kind of like power play 1, like combination stack that's really affordable. Montreal does not have very good penalty kill, but the Flyers also don't have a very good power play. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about going anything Flyers right now. They've looked so awful lately in the past 2 weeks.
How about the Devils though against the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, I mean it's decent. That line 1 is certainly affordable. I'm not crazy about it. I'm trying to see if the Devils are still in the playoff hunt at all. Not really. They're 5 points back with 4 to go, so they're pretty much out of it. There's only like 1 spot left for playoff splendor, and that's the last wild card spot in the East. So there's like a really crowded Eastern Conference for the last wild card spot. Yeah.
Dane said to reload it that Mercer is going to be on line 3 tonight.
Okay.
So let me reload that. Oh yeah, so that kind of takes it. That essentially. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. That Hischier and Hughes are going to be on line 1 together. Okay, this kind of takes the Devils out of play for me. Like now this line is just too expensive for what this is.
Very expensive. I
don't mind playing Timo Meier on the second line as a one-off.
Me neither. I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind playing Meier as a one-off at all. But yeah, that line 1 now is super expensive. Not an amazing spot. So
no. Another team with a pretty high team total and a good matchup against Ottawa.
That's
Florida
my team.
Panthers.
Tarasenko
is probably going to be chalky in cash games, I'm assuming, at 4,100. I think they're competitively priced. I mean, outside of Tarasenko, all these other guys are kind of competitively priced. I think Forsling, because they're missing what Oliver Ekman-Larsson is going to be out, and kind of like they don't really have much defensively here available. What are your thoughts on playing the Panthers? Playing something like my instinct is to play Barkov, Tarasenko, Forsling. But of course, like Matthew Tkachuk could always shoot like 9 times.
See, he's my guy that I'd like to play. I would like to play Tkachuk. He's 7-3, and this matchup seems really absurdly cheap. Ottawa is just so leaky defensively. This game's being played in Florida. Yeah, like he's 7-3 for him. That's way too cheap. Like his shot floor in this matchup, I'd imagine, is very strong. I wouldn't mind doing like a Tarasenko, Barkov, Tkachuk power play 1. Get some exposure to that line 2, and then doing 2 out of. Obviously, you can add Reinhart. You could. I prefer maybe leaving him off. But Tkachuk is my favorite individual play on Florida, and he's probably my favorite individual play on the slate, not named, Nathan McKinnon, not named, Nikita Kucherov, outside of the big name studs, the big, the big dogs. He's probably my favorite play on the slate.
We're getting to the end of the NHL season. I don't think TJ is going to be coming back on the show for NHL. We're doing a lot more MLB, just to let you know, right? Because next Thursday is the end of the NHL season. So it'll be more MLB focused on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But TJ is Dollar General. To me, he's always Dollar General, finding the cheap stack. Now he goes into the bargain, but he goes into Dollar General and then goes into the sale rack of Dollar General to find the really, really line 3 guys or something. If you're gonna play like if you're gonna play Colorado one with like Makar, if you're gonna play a
Right.
full power play, Tampa Bay type of lineup, if you're playing Austin Matthews and it's some of like the expensive Maple Leafs or something, from a value perspective, to get a nice 3 or 4 man value stack. I mentioned San Jose earlier. They're at home.
Yep.
They're against Calgary. I mean, Zetterlund, Granlund, Eklund, they're not the cheapest, but I
As
mean,
it,
they're cheap enough.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I was looking even cheaper at the Kings' third line: Lafreniere, Fiala, and Dubois. Lafreniere is 2.6, Dubois is 3.5, and Fiala is 5.6, which is pretty expensive for Dollar General. But altogether, they're a little bit over 11,000. So I don't know. That's a really good spot for the Kings too. I think the Kings can continue to move up in seeding also in the Western Conference. So they're still trying to win games. This is an absolute cupcake matchup. So I really like, if you're looking for a Dollar General type stack, I would look to that Kings third line. I also have interest in Seattle. Seattle,
okay,
top to bottom. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
exactly.
See, yeah.
I was like, what do you like? And then I was gonna go
Right.
Seattle. McCann
Yeah.
is gonna be out, right?
Okay. Yep. It looks like
And
he's projected to be out. Yep.
I mean, the problem with Seattle is that they're all cheap, but they all. I mean, like my first instinct is to play line 2. Actually, right, Eberle Schwartz,
Yep.
but I mean, you can play Beniers, Burakovsky, Bjorkstrand. I had no problem. You can even play Gord, Tolvanen. I mean, it's just
Yep.
that they're all like it feels like I think line 1 has the highest floor, but line 2 has the highest ceiling. Like someone like Jaden Schwartz to me, he either gets there or he dies. Like
Yeah.
he right, like because I've played these lines before, and I feel
Mm,
like Beniers is less likely to score a lot of points, but most likely going to probably give you 8 to 10 in some facet with an assist or something like that. Bjorkstrand has a ceiling. Burakovsky does shoot, but
yep. Oh yeah.
I mean, you can make to me. I my attitude would be play line 1 or line 2, and I don't care that much about the power play correlation because they kind of split time on the power play anyway.
Yep. And I would make sure to check on the Vince Dunn news. I don't know if Dane has an update on that or not, but Vince Dunn's usually the point man on the PP1. He's obviously rejected out right now. So Schultz at PP1 at 3.4 against the Coyotes. Riker Evans is pretty cheap, PP2. So both those guys I think are viable, assuming that Dunn remains out. I do not have an update on his status, so I'm not sure on that. But this entire team, like if I was making multiple teams tonight, I would fill in a lot of my value pieces with this Seattle team because, like you said, line 1, line 2, you can play both of them, and if you really need Dollar General status, line 3 is viable. So, and these defensemen, assuming Dunn is out, both Schultz and Evans, I think, are good plays for value.
And also, I mean, you could also pair like Larson for
Oh yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
strength.
Yep, yep.
So from a value standpoint, I mean, just from a one-off perspective, would you say that uh, would you rank it kind of like Lehkonen 1 at 4,500, Tarasenko 2 at 4,100, And then kind of like any of these Seattle guys, like kind of like, I mean, Burakovsky at 3,200 seems like I could get a goal
I
at that
think
price.
oh, definitely. I mean, I think that's a really, really strong play. We're seeing a lot of San Jose at the top of our projections, at the top of our points per dollar projections right now, like Eklund and I guess and Kunin also. So we're getting to some San Jose at super, super cheap. We're looking at some cheap Tampa Bay guys.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
mostly Nicholas Paul, I guess. And also you got
Nicholas
the
Paul.
Columbus guys. Like can you talk to me, because I read the slate summary like last week
Okay.
with Columbus, that like our projections prefer Voronkov over Cole Sillinger, but it seems like Cole Sillinger plays more than Voronkov.
I would have to look into.
Because Taylor mentioned it like in the previous games. It's like with these guys, with so many people out, and I mean Columbus is dead, so it doesn't matter. That
Right.
the coach just seems to trust, because they've all their centers out. I mean, like Jenner's out, Fantilli's out, like all these guys are out. And he just says that based on time on ice, that it feels like the coach just trusts Cole Sillinger more at center than anyone else on the roster.
You would think who Voronikov skates with Nylander and Gaudreau, that he would be better projected. I would feel more comfortable clicking on Veronikov's name over Sillinger. There must be it must just be a time on ice thing. Must be. Although Marchenko's pretty good at 4-3 with Sillinger, you know. So, but I'm not. I don't think I'd want to play them tonight, even though they are dirt cheap. I think the Lightning are gonna dominate this game.
And also, the Lightning have Vasilevsky in goal and not their garbage goalkeeper.
That's true too. That's
Right.
true too.
If you want to
Yeah.
just go by, I mean, I'm not a big, care that much about who's in net for some of these teams, but whenever I see, the really bad, whenever Comrie's in net for the Sabres, it's like, let's load up on their opponent, right? Is
Yes.
there any other games that you'd want to talk about that stand out?
Well, I would say that, standing out like in terms of cross offs, like cross off for me is Carolina Boston. Cross off for me is New York versus New York. Lot of pretty easy cross offs there, because you're gonna have to trim on such a large slate, right? Like you have to like be pretty aggressive trimming. So I would definitely
How
trim
about this
those two.
Capitals Red Wings game? Doesn't this have like
Yeah, I
playoff
was.
implications?
This is the biggest real life game of the night by far. This is the biggest. This is a huge real life game. Not really sure what I want to do about it in terms of fantasy. I think that line one is pretty cheap for Detroit. Fully correlated on the power play as well. The Capitals can get really leaky defensively. I don't hate them in GPPs. I mean, 6,400 for Dylan Larkin is. I mean, we used to pay 7,500 for this guy. I would like to see what his projected ownership is going to be, because if it's really low, I don't mind this line one for Detroit at all. And obviously, you can always one off Ovechkin if you want. It's not. I really
You
I
could
really
always
don't.
rub one off pass you ready as well at
Yeah,
3,500.
yeah, you could do that. But this is definitely the game like that I'm going to be watching as a fan. But in terms of DFS, I think Detroit one is really cheap, and you have full correlation. So it's an interesting line to keep an eye out in terms of ownership later in the day.
Would you consider Buffalo Dallas to be? I mean, it seems like that it feels like Buffalo Dallas. There could be goals in this game, and you don't get any of them right, and no one gets like they get spread out enough that no one gets there. That like
Yep.
maybe you could play like one of the defensemen or something. Just look at how many
Yes.
people that can score in this game. I mean, this is I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm trying to find their 3.7 implied total for Dallas. That's pretty good, but like you said, it can get super spread out on that team. So that used to be such a one-line dominant team with Hintz, Robertson, and Pavelski, but now it seems way more spread out. They have so much more good depth on that team. So I kind of agree with you that it's kind of a spread out situation.
How about the Jets national? I mean, playing Philip Forsberg when no one's playing him. I mean,
Yeah. He
he's
had 10
there, but I much prefer. I would much if you told me that Forsberg was 3% owned and Matthew Tkachuk was 5% owned. I'll still play Tkachuk, right?
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
getting big news. Jack Hughes will
Big
not
news.
play tonight for the Devils. It'll be Mercer to the
Ooh.
top power play unit.
Ooh.
That makes the Devils a little bit more appealing from a price perspective, but I would think you would agree with me. No Jack Hughes in the Devils lineup makes the Devils worse. Like as a
Yeah.
team.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
oh, they're cheaper
Definitely.
now, but
Right.
their performance may not be good.
Yes, that is definitely true. But they still have a really capable top six, like Nico Herscher, Timo Meyer. They're very, very talented players. So it's not like the end of the world for New Jersey, but you are right. In general, yes, this is a big, big loss but it's such a good matchup though, too. It's a really good, really like top tier matchup for New Jersey. So I can't cross off guys like Heischer, Bratt, and Meyer.
But how about back to this Jets Predators game? I mean, I don't see. I mean, on a 13 game slate. I mean, if you need the Predators, if Forsberg scores a hat trick, so be it. It'll be low enough owned that
Right.
I don't care. I feel like 8,600 at this point. 8,600 Forsberg.
Yeah, I have basically no interest in this game outside of the Predators goalie. He's the only he's the only play that I'm considering from this game.
I think we're good. I mean, we talked kind of about every game. How about the Flames against the Sharks? I mean, the Sharks suck.
I was just gonna bring that up. I feel like we have to bring up the Sharks opponent.
But their lines are
Kuzmenko.
so spread out. I feel like with the Flames, it's one of those whack-a-mole. All the top three lines kind of play evenly.
Yeah,
Good luck.
I know. But I mean, I feel like they have to be part of a portfolio of teams, right? Like if you're building 10, 20, you have to have some exposure to the Flames, in my opinion.
I liked it
Who
better when Mangiapane was out because at least it eliminated
Right.
another winger, right?
Right. Yeah, I would be looking at line 1 or line 2 or just a PP1 stack.
I can't pay 6,800 for Kadri on this slate.
I don't know. He has a ceiling. He
Yeah,
does.
sure, of course he has a
He-
ceiling,
he-
but I'd rather play Barkov at 7,200.
oh,
Center.
definitely.
I'd rather play Nico
Yes,
Hischier at
yeah.
6,700. Like
Sure.
it's just like
Yeah.
why am I paying for Kadri when there's other people in this range
True.
that project better and correlate with other pieces? Like I could play Tarasenko in a Barkov lineup. I could play Timo Meyer in a Nico Hischier lineup. I mean, just feels like that. But I mean, the one guy that I like on the Flames the most is Mackenzie Weegar. Because he's playing,
yeah.
I mean, he's like playing like half the game now. I mean,
I know.
like I see the
I
game
know.
logs of like 28, 30 minutes. I mean, against the Sharks, if he's going to be on the top defensive pair and power play one, I mean, there's no better floor ceiling comment. If you could afford it at 6, I mean, to me, I would rather play Weegar over like Makar and Josie. I mean, I almost feel like it's like to get a guy that's going to play nearly 30 minutes in this matchup. Sign me up.
Yeah. No, I don't mind doing a one-off of Uyghur.
Anything else? This is your last NHL show of the season.
This will be, yes. Yeah.
Right.
Next week
You'll
we're
be on the
doing
show. You'll
baseball.
be on the show in the future. Just we'll be talking MLB.
Yeah, we'll be doing baseball. Yeah.
Right. So, any general thoughts on the entire NHL season or what to look out for in the playoffs? Anything you want to tell NHL people that played NHL DFS about, since you don't want to talk about it, you'd like, I'm going to watch the games. I'm not going to care that much about DFS other than
Right.
MLB and other stuff.
Right.
So here, I'm letting you get your last word in about NHL.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all the people in our Discord channel. You guys have all been great back-to-back years. It's been awesome. Great working with Dane and Taylor and you, Blender. So thank you. And Blender, it's your first year playing hockey. You did great, right?
Profitable
Yeah,
year playing.
I knew you would. I knew you would. So yeah, it's been awesome hanging out with everybody, and I look forward to doing it next year.
Dane says we need a cup pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, odds not considered. I think it's got to be Colorado, but I haven't looked at the odds. They are, in my opinion, by far the best team.
But NHL is the type of thing where, I mean, a team could get hot and be like in the 7th seed could win.
NHL playoffs are the most. It's like the most fun, 2 or 3 weeks in sports, in my opinion. It's so intense and so good, and like every moment is so big. It's like soccer, Blender. Like really, like everything that happens is really important.
Well, it's like soccer if NHL the playoffs were only 2 games each.
Right.
Yeah. They did a home and away, and that's it. And they had an aggregate score, and that would be it.
Yep.
I'm always putting in why soccer is the most exciting sport.
I love soccer. It's just the contests aren't great outside of a few like Saturday slates or obviously the World Cup.
Well, those are the slates that I play.
Yeah.
We got a Champions League slate today. It's only 2 games because it's we're into the knockout rounds of the Champions League. But
what is it, like the Euro League that goes off Saturday mornings at 10? What is that?
No, the English Premier League.
That's the Premier League. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I play those.
I play all of those. So Saturday morning, I'm always around for that. We got projections for that as well. That's part of the combo premium package, right? So click on that link in the description and get that discount. So hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. We got MLB Grinders Live. We got baseball today. We got basketball. We got everything here. Obviously, if you're a premium member, we'll have the slate summary, expert survey, everything out for NHL today. Tomorrow will be on. We're talking MLB. We're talking not only DFS but props as well, and some betting stuff with Will. And Tim, thanks. Thank you. You thank everyone else. Thank you for making the NHL Discord channel the best in the business. And I mean, I got a quick, top-notch NHL DFS education, right? NHL, especially at the beginning of the season. Final question for you.
Yep.
Compared to October, how much more do I remember? One, what players are on what teams, and 2, how to pronounce their names.
You did great with what players play on certain teams. Your pronunciation could use a little work, but it's not
okay. So I'm not getting an A+ on that.
No, not quite, but a B+.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
But
remember who's on what. I remember who's
yeah,
on what tier. Unless some weird
yeah.
guy from the AHL shows up and
I
see
don't
why.
know. I don't know the AHL guys, so I don't blame you for that.
Yeah, Jax fan says, thanks for all the helpful info the last couple of months. Well, thank you. Hit that thumbs up button. Show your appreciation for the free content here. We got Grinders live later today. I'll be back tomorrow with Will to talk MLB, because that's what I do here Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about. Daily fantasy props and pick 'em on RotoGrinders today.